Htp family. You're tuning into the pro-black perspective on KWAZ radio. If you didn't know already, we're going to have a live discussion. I'm going to be on the Bitter Medicine podcast a little later today. But first, I wanted to get on this. I want to issue a challenge. Okay, I want to issue a challenge to anybody who disagrees with the idea that, look, let's face it, African Americans or Afro Americans or whatever you want to call them are 95% doomed. Neverlutionaries. You know, that's just the facts. So I'm going to give you the context for this conversation, and then whenever somebody wants to jump on and have a real discussion, we can do that. And, you know, of course, as you already know, I'm live on a Discord right now, so if you wanted to jump on the Discord and have a little chat, that would be possible too, but I only got an hour right now. You know, I got to prepare for the later podcast as well as do some other stuff, and of course get my eat on, but let's go on. So this is my Twitter. And, you know, I'm being a little active. You see, I don't got too many followers, but it is what it is. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I mean, not the bottom, but I'm going to scroll down to the beginning of this conversation. And we're just going to go through a lot of the stuff that were being said and shared today and yesterday with the various other people in the conversation. Because, you know, like, the reality is this, that, you know, this all kind of triggered from a lot of black folk complaining about Biden and his, you know, imperialism in a sense. And it's like, look, y'all, white people is imperialists. White people is imperialists. The reason why you in this country right now is because the white man's imperialist, nothing else. You know? So we're gonna go through this Twitter, and hopefully the idea is that, you know, eventually you follow the Twitter as well. You know? So let's see, I might have went too far. You know, this is basically what I'm saying. I'm saying I want to go to Africa. I want to go to African country that says, only come run this for me, you know, come run this for 4 years, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, there's a lot of conversation. Here's somebody talking about Umar is a great speaker and yada yada. And I'm like, look, man, what's Umar's message? What's his program? Umar, like most American speakers, was only, actually, let me make sure y'all can hear me. Yeah, okay. He was only, what do you call it? Let me get back to this link. He was only... Like he's only good because he's talking about the subjects that we want to talk about. But like real talk, if you talk about analysis, you talk about programs, you talk about messages, he's not there. Now, of course, the brother, if you click on these stuff, you'll see that there's a little bit more. The brother says, I'm not sure what you're trying to say, you know? And I tell him, look at bells and whistles. That's what you got. It's all bells and whistles. That's what it is with a lot of the people in America. It's all bells and whistles. If you tell them, look, there's a way for you to get out of this, like to not support this imperialist machine, right? They're going to tell you, oh, well, you know, that's a little bit too much. And you have to realize at that point that if it's too much for you to really withdraw from the imperialist machine, that real talk, the machines, it tells me all I need to know about you, you know? All right, so let's see. I like how group supplements language. I bet. Oh yeah, I'm just me just talking random. You know, this is AI Philly, good organization. That's Wahida. This is Tierney Sherry. She's cool. She's good people. We're gonna keep going. This was just some joke I wrote. All right, let's keep going. Right here, like this is another one right here. So this person right here, this is a quote unquote Afro socialist. Like you gotta see why a person is gonna get irked after a while. Because this is a white boy who's just, you know, taking a cold bath or whatever, and he's like, he don't feel it. He don't feel the cold. So this person, an Afro-socialist, you know, I don't really care for the socialists, they're like, how are you so coldly indifferent to human suffering? And the colonizer says, it's like, oh, I just want to feel my suffering. That's how we are. And, you know, another brother saw it, he peeped it, so, you know, this is my dude, Hiroki. He goes, don't they sound sympathetic, brother? Wow, why don't you have any compassion? Because that's who white people are. And it's like, and I'm telling you, it's like my enemy has no compassion for me, head ass. You know? That's just a quote that we use. That's how they talk in America. Right? You know, they call everybody a head ass. Anyway, we're going to keep going. Like I said, you just scroll through. Complaining, so this is why I just kind of got triggered. Right? It's like this. Complaining about Biden is some slave shit. Okay? And I'm sorry, not sorry. You know, if Biden isn't good enough for you, so fucking what? You know, I don't give a if you think a white man isn't up to your standard. They're not supposed to be. Grow up and do for your damn self. Stop whining about whitey if that's all you do. And that's all they do. You understand? Now, of course, y'all know this is D-Web. He's in the Harsh Reality podcast. So make sure you check that out. You know, and brothers just, who pissing your coffee now? I'm just like, wait a moment. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know nobody pissing my coffee, so now I'm kind of tight. You know what I'm saying? But this is another one right here. It says, Biden bombs Syria. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, y'all never heard of a non-violent white man. What are you doing about protecting Africa? If your whole thing is, good thing I didn't vote, then you're a certified dumbass. That's it. If all you could say is you ain't vote, then you're a certified dumbass. Of course, I take it back. You a all cap certified dumbass, but that's just me. And look at this. White people bombing shit is how they say hello. You reporting on Whitey while not doing shit about him is disgraceful. Some of you make it clear why Whitey tortured us for so long. Where's the actual fight? Where's the actual struggle? Is it tweets, retweets, likes, and follows? That's the question of the day. That's the question of the day. You saw the brother said, we got to ask ourselves some questions. Now right here, and this is another thing right here. It says, look, people been said lesser two evil, meaning that they both were bad guys. You know what I'm saying? Everybody understands Biden's not a good guy. The only people who believe that he's a good guy is these people who are disappointed. See? Y'all the only ones who believe this was a good white person. Y'all the only ones disappointed. The rest of us disappointed in y'all dumbasses for being asleep. Now, of course, brother, actually, I don't know if this is brother, to be honest. I don't know who this is. But they said someone would argue that Trump is the lesser evil. And I'm like, look, that's too bad. Because Trump was last month. Nobody cares anymore. Then they whine about, look, I told them, look, straight up, I'm going to get $10,000 student loan forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, well, some people, like, come on. Like, the reality is that everybody knows the dude was a bad guy. You telling us he's a bad guy, nobody gives a shit. You should have done something more productive than whatever it is that you were doing. Because what you were doing, which was, I guess, not voting, didn't do nothing. You understand? What you were doing, which I guess is not voting, wasn't doing nothing. It didn't change nothing. Right? And no one cares about you don't vote crusade. People are going to vote again and again as usual. You keep trying the same failed strategy every damn year, and you keep whining and don't realize the problem is you. Collecting donations for zero progress for decades. That's how these people are. They're not progressing. Now right here, I said, look, America is the only country in the world that can do whatever it wants around the world, and the only response is a series of civilian tweets and articles. And I see why America's picture. See, I understand why the white boy is proud of a country that can do whatever it wants all around the world. I understand why the American is proud because he can do whatever he wants, wherever he wants. You understand? Now, of course, another brother pointed out, now this is a cool brother up until, he actually mad at me right now. I'm actually trolling him. But anyway, he go, outside of South Koreans and Japanese, Asia is sort of off limits to America ever since Vietnam. Asians have their independence from the USA and Europeans, right? And I'm like, look, they doing something we not doing. I wonder if they're complaining about Biden right now. They not. See the Chinese and the North Koreans and all of them, they're not worried about it. They know, they understand what Biden is doing. All the people complaining is these black folk. You know what I'm saying? These black folk and these fake white folk, these leftists. And I'm telling you, if you look at these leftists, I mean, you gotta look into them. If you look at these leftists, they living high on the hog. I'm telling you, because sometimes they be showing you pictures or they be doing podcasts from their house, and you're like, that's a damn good living room. And y'all see my living room, it's spare, poorly colored, needs a tune up. Yeah. Yeah. You understand? Because my thing is that I plan on getting out. You understand? I don't need my house to look nice if I'm getting out. You understand? Now you need your house to look good if you ain't getting out. If you plan on settling down. That's just the rules of how humans behave. Now this right here is some animation. You guys can check it out on your own time. Because I want to encourage you. I want to see them follows. All right. This right here, I'm a boatman. If you don't know, she's like one of the best accounts on Twitter. Top tier, right? But she's like, look, well, other people don't have the weapons. You already spoke about people not voting, so we can't emote and we can't withhold our vote. I'm like, nah, it's too soft. You understand? Around the world, everyone knows how to deal with an abusive entity, unless it's the American government. Then we become enablers in the vein of criticism and civil disobedience. Keyword civil. And of course, Iya Ajua, another powerful sister, she says, civil disobedience. They don't go together, Ammo. You understand? In her opinion, right? But it's like this is the thing. If you dealing with somebody's abusing you, right? You already know what to do. You need to leave. You need to say, look, man, I ain't gonna contact you ever again. Matter of fact, I was dealing with this sister. She said that her baby daddy was abusing her, and her son now, like, let's say 14 or something, right? And he ain't see his father in, like, he don't know who his father is. Okay? All he know about his father is that his father abused his mother. That's it. And he don't want to be like that. That's it. Because you got to understand how to deal with abusers. You got to understand how to deal with abuse. But if it's the American government, then suddenly it's like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna pay you as much taxes. I'm gonna live comfortably in your borders. I'm gonna live comfortably in your borders. This is the problem. It's just too damn soft. You understand? Now, Baka Amubo, if y'all know, he's also a powerful brother, right? He says, until somebody beat their ass, and of course this is Keita. So like all these people you see right here, you should just give them all a follow, right? Keita says, the Vietnamese and Taliban have shown us enough what it takes to defeat those sociopaths. You have to understand. They know. This is another person. I don't know who this is, but, you know, it's whatever. This goes way back, man. They literally started wars just because they could, you know? Just because they could. Again, that's what I'm saying. Americans started wars just because they could. This is me bragging about how much money I'm going to get from this Biden, from him, his student loan thing. Because it's like a penny saved, penny earned. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that, because like my thing is I could have just paid for it. But I was like, look, let me see how this population, how this thing gonna go. Now right here, look at this right here. Just so I'm kind of trolling. I'm not gonna trick, right? It goes, FYI, when you don't vote, you stop the imperialist machine. Now pay your taxes, follow their laws, and type out your disagreements. Right? This is the core intellectual political strain of Black Twitter. It said an FBI agent couldn't articulate this docility better. He probably ended with digging. Now, if y'all don't know, this is from that this is from that Judas and the Black Messiah movie, right? Where yeah, this is a funny scene. But the like basically the FBI agents are writing out a pamphlet, and they don't know the lingo, so they just put down digging randomly. You know, it's funny. But anyway, but it's like this is what it is though. We're just saying, look, we pay our taxes, we follow the laws, and we type out our disagreements. All we do is not vote, and somehow we stop in the imperialist machine. That's not how you stop imperialism. Don't let these people tell you that's how you stop imperialism. You understand? There's a proverb. There's a proverb. I mean, not a proverb. There's a scene inside that movie, Five on the Black Hand Side, where the dude's like, you know, we can't see you walking around with this white woman. You know, the way how you walk around with this white woman, you're confusing people. You're confusing people. The same with this. If you there paying taxes to the American government, and you going to work with the American government, and you helping out this imperialist machine, you are confusing people by people saying, look, I agree with you in your resistance to this empire, because you are not resisting this empire. You are facilitating this empire. Okay? Now look at this right here. I said, asking Biden to do more for you. Asking Biden to do more for you, I don't understand. What are you trying to accomplish? You're basically saying, I didn't vote for you, but can you please help me out? And I'm trying to say, you understand this is pathetic. Not only do you want something for nothing, but you ain't doing for self. Tell me why soy descent revolutionaries are holding up empty bean cans out to their so-called oppressors. What revolution involves asking for student loan forgiveness, an end to foreign bombing, and a higher federal minimum wage? Stop saying you're a revolutionary and you're a Democrat. You understand? Sorry to sound me self-described. Like the thing is that you there with the bean can. You with the bean can talking about, oh, well, you know, can I have some student loan forgiveness? I want some more student loan forgiveness. You know? Because here's the thing. Biden said he's going to give $10,000 student loan forgiveness. I'm good. These quote-unquote leftists are saying, no. Let it be $50,000 student loan forgiveness. And Biden's saying, look, that sounds like some upper-class shit. Biden is saying out of Biden's mouth, he's like, that sounds like some upper-class shit. Why would you have $50,000 student loan unless you went to some big-ass, fancy-ass school and you're trying to say something? You understand? Unless you went to some big, fancy-ass school. Because he's like, look, I know Oni's good with the $10,000. You understand? That's what he's saying. He said, he understands a lot of people, you know, went to school and they said, look, you know, I can't afford no $50,000 right now. But the only people that could afford $50,000 is these rich-ass leftists. You understand? So they're like, oh, well, it should be $50,000. How dare you? It shouldn't be $10,000. The rest of us is like, nah, we good with $10,000. You understand? We good with $10,000. But they have their little cups, like, oh, that's why we ain't vote for you. We ain't vote for you because you ain't give us 50,000. 50,000, I can't even use 50,000. You understand? I'm good with 10,000. You hear me? So, but you there saying you're revolutionary, and you there like, oh, can I get some more money? Oh, you know, you shouldn't be bombing over there. And you know, the minimum wage is too low. Meanwhile, you know, none of them working minimum wage. You know, none of them working minimum wage. Oh yeah, of course, you know, good brother responded to this, but you know, he's just trolling. You gotta follow this brother, Great House. He's again like another top tier character on the person on Twitter. You know, he says so he making fun of Soy Descent. Soy Descent's a good word though. Self-described. I'm giving y'all some vocabulary, right? Anyway, that was me right there. So then, of course, you know, young Lero, she a cool sister. She had enough too. She's like, look, black leftists be sucking China's dick on it. You understand? And of course, you know, y'all could investigate that. You definitely give her a follow too. You know, but I said, look, China be grinning ear to ear whenever a black leftist leaves the room. You understand? You understand? They like, you know, you just, because every time you turn around, they get in there. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, young Lero again, she goes, look, I don't know about y'all, but I didn't vote for Biden because I already knew what was up. You understand? And me and mine are planning exit from America. See, she said she want to exit America. See, y'all didn't vote for Biden so you could hop online and try to blast liberals as if that will jumpstart the revolution. There's a difference. See, because you're going to notice now. Because, see, eventually I'm going to, you know, this is like a whole story right here. Right? Eventually I'm going to talk about how y'all don't got no exit plan. Okay? Eventually I'm going to talk about how y'all don't got no exit plan. And what that means. Right? So, you know, the brother says, you know, oh yeah, we already saw that my enemy has no compassion, blah, blah. So I asked, you know, just a general question, because I'm a friendly guy. You know, what projects is everybody trying to accomplish? They share their projects, right? You know, somebody says some little joke, I said a little joke back, you know. Somebody says, corner stores really watch kids grow up from chips and sodas to blunts and alcohol. Now, here's the thing. If you go through here, because see, you're looking at my Twitter right now. This is what Twitter really looked like. You know, a bunch of dumbass jokes, a bunch of, you know, weird advertisements. Wow, deep. Damn, that's true. You know? And, you know, all the store owners, you know, and it's like, this is a colonized ass population. You know? Because these corner stores are the Arab stores. You understand? Now, of course, there's somebody complaining about Obama who didn't want reparations. And I'm like, look, you got to understand why Obama did it. You know, Obama knew better than to sink on an issue that wouldn't pass anyway. You know, and this is something you got to understand. There's a power structure in every country on the planet, and America's no different. You got to err with that power structure or you'll get got. We're the only people who think the people are power. And, of course, that was a quote from Fred Hampton, you know, Judas. Y'all should actually watch that movie. I ain't going to trip. That movie was alright. This is this was a thread. Y'all should see this thread. This is like about how the black church in America is just like straight out of slavery. It's wild, you know. And so I kind of like wanted to elaborate more on this whole people's power thing. I'm like, look, y'all got to realize Obama was trying to get into the power structure, but most black people trying to have sound bites. You know, saying I'm for reparations is what y'all write on your graves, but Obama writing 44th U.S. president. At some point, you can't even blame the guy for not entertaining the soundbiters. You understand? And that's my new word, the soundbiters. You know, it's not that these loud black folk want freedom or power or liberation. It's that they want to have a good soundbite. They want to say, I told you so, or even go viral off of something they put out there. There's no power in that, but that's the goal. You see what I'm saying? You have to realize that Obama said, look, I'm going for power. Okay? Obama gets power. Right? And what do you got? You understand? What do you got? So, you know, like, what do you put on your grave? So we're going to keep going. I said, like, okay, you told us not to vote for Biden. So I'm just going back. I said, look, like, okay, you told us not to vote for Biden, but you pay taxes, you live in the country, depend on its electric and water system, attended its school, use its currency, follow its laws, pull over for its police, watch its news. For all intent and purposes, your outrage is fake. You understand? You're fake outrage. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to this, man. I remember this brother who was upset about Kagame. You think he stayed in Rwanda? No. Right? I know someone who wasn't really that upset about Mugabe. And they are still in Uganda. You understand? Y'all notice something? Biden is the end of the world, but you are living your best life in America. Make it make sense. You know, it reminds me of the people I hear who are in an abusive relationship for 2 years. If the abuse starts in the last month, I understand, right? But if it starts in the first month, people got to question what your self-worth and self-value is, because most of us dip at the first sign. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to the sister, matter of fact. I'll tell you the truth. I was talking to the sister, right? And the sister goes, sister just flips out on me. Randomly flips out on me. You know, we all, you know, we chill, we cool. Like, I don't smoke. She smoked. This was like the first woman I ever met. No, not the first woman. The first woman that smoked in front of me. I never saw that. But anyway, I don't smoke. She smoked. Suddenly, she just, like, so I guess it was the calm nerves. I don't know what happened. I guess because I was thinking, okay, that means she really chill. No, this woman just flip out on me. She did, you know, oh yeah, you're a liar and deceiver, and you ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't know where this is coming from, right? I don't even know where this is coming from. But you think but you know, we were supposed to meet up like in 2 days or something. I said, look, you're not the kind of person I want to associate with. You understand? You know, I mean, I was looking to be your friend. I don't want to be your friend anymore. You understand? Because what you demonstrated is that you're not chill. You're not cool. That was it. You understand? We ain't do nothing. We ain't get too far. I just said to myself, look, this was like early. This would have been the second date. I said no. After you talking all that stuff, after the first date, it's over. I ain't interested. You're not the woman I want. The first sign of abuse, you vanish. And if you don't, then you ain't got no damn self-worth. Cause me, I was, you know, I want, look, oh man, I wanted, like sister was fine, okay? Sister was fine. I'm a man, okay? Nice shape, nice body, all that. You know, and she was cool, but like I said, she showed one sign, one red flag. You think I said, oh, well, I mean, I'll give her another chance. No! Come on. This right here is just the next movie to come out. Y'all see it's a black director, but it's another trader movie. But y'all could take what y'all want with that. This is just me, you know, putting humor on the TL. This is, like I said, I tell y'all gotta go follow Great House. He's awesome. But you know, Ann Coulter apparently, look at this. Somebody complained about something, and Ann Coulter says, also note that the racist bully isn't even a foundation of American black. She is, of course, an immigrant. We owe you nothing. And then she CC's Tariq Nasheed. And so, of course, you know, a Great House points out that. Now look, I put it plain. I say, look here. I put it plain right here. I said, look, renouncing American citizenship is only $2,350. Okay? Much less than you are paying in taxes. Then you're really not participating in U.S. imperialism. Not finance the machine with your taxes. Not be able to vote and not play an active role in global terrorism. Will you do it? You know? Now, of course, now look, that's the plan already, right? So, brother asked me, I said, look, you already know. But then we kind of have this long conversation. So that's really what I want to go into. And of course, I'm trying to hurry up because, you know, if y'all don't know, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But look, somebody says, no, it represents. So somebody tells you straight up, right here. This was 2 hours ago. He says, no, it represents access to friends, family, and resources. You know, a U.S. passport is access to banking and consular services are valuable tools. No tool is inherently evil. If an enemy falls and drops his weapon in war, you don't say, we only use our weapons. You grab it in his ammo. I said, look, the enemy doesn't volunteer his weapons to you. At some point, you have to admit that you are, in fact, literally and figuratively America's soldiers. You understand? Now, of course, I didn't see this response, so I didn't reply to it. But it said, would never deny such. The literal Micah Johnson, Chris Dorner, and figurative spook who sat by the door were as well. Many of the 70s were Vietnam vets. The one thing America will teach you is that it's symbolic gestures and moral grandstanding don't compare to power and access. Yeah. So that was cool. Now, like I said, these are, if you don't know, these are like 2 of my favorite accounts on Twitter, right? But anyway, so Alma says, does everyone have that money? Can they afford to move? Where would they go? This isn't a solution for most Americans, right? And look, I said, look, exactly. There's an ancient proverb for this human characteristic. Every man is rich in excuses to safeguard his prejudices, his instincts, and his opinions. People would rather finance their oppression than pull away from their oppressor. That's the solid truth. And I show you the numbers. The average American family is paying $15,000 in taxes. And look, and the thing is this, you don't have to pay your taxes right away. You understand? You'll just owe $50,000 later. That's it. But you don't have to pay your taxes. So the average American can afford $23.50. It's just that, like the other brother was saying, you can't afford to lose America, and that's really what it comes down to. Okay? Yes, he has been doing it all day. It's not advice that's realistic. You know, of course, I was like, I ain't doing all day shit. But American leftists are usually well off. You have the income data on American leftists, and I'm like, look, it's a matter of action. Speak louder than words. It's fine to have opinion, but you let your actions match your opinion. Don't call yourself a revolutionary if you will never take up a gun. It will confuse people. If you're opposed to a state and its existence, then renounce. Now, I guess Alma thought I was talking about her. She's like, is everyone saying they're revolutionary? I was like, look, I was more discussing people who say they're revolutionary. You understand? And of course, you guys can look at this thread. You see it's like 2 comments, so it means it breaks off the thing. Since leftists tend to be more educated and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, you know, you can't, you know, because there's a meta-narrative going on, and you gotta, like, you almost gotta be there to see there. So, you know, make sure I get that follow on Twitter or even on whatever. Let's see. Marx and them confused you into thinking that the working class was a revolutionary group, when in fact the workers are the backbones of capitalism. America turned its industry into war machines to defeat the Germans and eventually the Nigerians and the Ghanaians. Workers did. You understand? So, like, you see I only got 2 likes. You understand? That's because I'm not popular. But it's all good. You gotta understand what's going on, what's the science being brought here, right? That in fact the workers are the one that's maintaining this capitalist order. So for all this time, if we've been quote unquote anti-capitalist, the people who were maintaining it were in fact these workers. Same ones you claim are the revolutionary people. So young Lero came back again. She says they won't. You know, when you talk about renouncing citizenship, she's like, they won't. The left is in denial with how much they love empire. The global south ending imperialism means they meet their demise here. So them straying just shows they aren't serious about it. Them staying just shows they aren't serious about it. It's really just some moral flex. So, you know, I told, and then, you know, of course she says, look, there's all kinds of excuses too. The majority can't afford to leave. The majority also don't give a fuck about nothing you talk about. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing. Why not consolidate your resources for a repatriation movement for those most marginalized? But kiss my ass. You understand? So of course I said, you know, I've yet to walk the hood and hear about bombing in Syria. You know what I'm saying? I've never, like, you go to the hood, you don't know it, hear nobody talking about the bombing in Syria. You know, these folk living high in the hall talking about Mookie can't afford to move. Like they ain't move away from Mookie 10 years ago. Mookie ain't worried about Syria, neither are they. They just posing. They're revolutionaries. You understand? And of course, you know, young Lero says, look, they're not really in the hood, which is why they glorify and scapegoat gangs. They'd rather hop on a podcast and yell at folks from the suburbs and the belly of the beast. Maybe pass out a lunch or two on, you know, to the hungry on weekends. You know, and of course I'm telling her, you know, she gotta change her name to Old Lero, because she's dropping elder wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Wrong ground. Look, tell some white boy, obviously. Groundwork of the U.S. must match the anti-imperialist efforts overseas. You think our countries aren't aware of the dissent among U.S. citizens against imperialists? Why would they discriminately kill all U.S. citizens when war crimes of that nature are strictly American? I envy you. You North Americans are very lucky. You are fighting the most important fight of all. You live in the heart of the beast, Che Guevara. Play a lot like the right wing. If you don't like this country, then leave. Everyone will die on my motherland. You see what I'm saying? Like these white folk are gonna come in and chip in and say, hey, stay over there. Make sure you work for this imperialist machine. Make sure you work for this imperialist machine. Make sure the imperialists are that much stronger. Because that's what they're doing, really. You understand? That's what they're doing, really. See, because even if you say Che Guevara, you say, oh, well, Che Guevara dead, right? But you say Cuba, right? They free there. If fighting a revolutionary war and winning, they're the ones that's free. They're the ones that have been living free for the last 50 years or whatever, right? You're the ones who haven't. You're the ones complaining about police brutality, not them. Well, let's go on. Show me an American leftist, I'll show you a mofo with a nice job and a nice house, courtesy of U.S. imperialism, without fail. There should be a challenge like the leftists in the House, and you'll see why they don't renounce their citizenship. You'll see. So, of course, you know, this is where I get into a long discussion with this brother, and we'll probably have to jump back to it, right? But here's another brother right here, Malcolm X Scholar. He seems like a nice guy. He says, these so-called leftists are only obsessed with income equality, which they believe would solve all the racial problems and other injustices. They don't care about the preservation of the earth, only fighting for their own share of the imperialist pie. And I say, look, this is the thing is this. They have no exit plan when it comes to America. They coexist and are codependent with the world's largest imperialists. They are not radicals, but enablers of empire. This is the most important thing you're going to read. They have no exit plan. Agreed, no exit plan. You made a great point earlier about them never renouncing their citizenship, and they'll have it. They really stand for something. They only play in lip service, and of course, I quote the great Marcus Garvey on that quote right there. So let's see. We're gonna keep going. By the way, if anybody got any comments, concerns, you know, let me have them. And of course, you know, make sure you drop them likes, and so on and so forth. Let's go. I've yet to walk the hood, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't say all this stuff. The other things, I moved my couch. Oh, yeah, that was just me joking. They really enter the hood, blah, blah, blah. A matter of actions speak louder than words. You understand? You know, it's actions speak louder than words. Let me see. Yeah, I already read that to you guys. So I said, exactly. The question is, are people willing to give up the perks? Right here. So this is somebody. So Alma says, I agree that most black... So I said, look, I wouldn't say all that. I did other things. Oh, yeah. She said, I agree most of black Americans aren't worried about American imperialism. But I am grateful to those who are. Let them speak out. This is some imperialism going on in Haiti. Let them speak on that too. Also, it's not just $2,300. You have to go somewhere and make money there, right? So I said, exactly. The question is, are people willing to give up the perks of imperialism? And if not, then how are they really anti-imperialist? Basically, they are considering that this is a system that they want to perpetuate in, and therefore they want to perpetuate. There's no aftermath. You have to confront these quote-unquote anti-imperialists and ask them. Ask them. What happens after America collapsed? You understand? Because the reality is that they have no plans. Now I said, look, inspired by recent discussion, if in fact an American is reluctant to renounce their citizenship out of fear of having nowhere to go or earn money, does that imply that they in fact have no plans outside of America's existence and have an interest in America's continuation? You know? And of course, the leading vote is that's the implication. You understand? You're not revolutionary because you have no plans to go anywhere else. Imagine that. You got no plans to be anywhere else but in the empire, making it rich. You understand? Now, of course, that's me joking. You know, me joking. This was the thing. Be a pioneer in Africa. Oh yeah. So this is. Let me see. Is that the end of it? That's not the end of it. Now I get into Brother Funky. Yeah, Brother Funky and I. We have a longer chat. So he says, what is your prescription for Black America? Right? And I say, look, be a pioneer in Africa or try to survive the American death cult. He goes, the vast majority of AAs are not leaving USA and would rather make our way here. I doubt more than 5% of us are game to actually move to Africa. And I'm like, that's fine. You understand? And the problem with Twitter is that it's hard to articulate a point. Okay, it's hard to articulate a point because you have a limited amount of characters. Right? I say, that's fine. Only pioneers in the landed thrive in the world. In this whole world. Nowhere do the landless and risk-averse make it better than the pioneers in the landed. 95% of black people are doomed to the existence of servitude and humiliation. There's no way around that. The exception is leave. Right? And I said the early Americans were the Europeans who ventured out. Not all of Europe moved, but eventually America helped all Europeans. It particularly helped those Europeans who traveled early and got land and power. That's the lesson of the day. Now, of course, the brother says, since we're no longer in slavery, servitude is too strong a word. We work of just like the rest of America. And I didn't actually see this before. I'm confident that eventually more of us will prosper, cut the cop killings down to a minimum, along with discrimination, but with the net, there will always be assholes. I don't know, he says. I think he said, but with the net? I don't know. I guess he's calling me an asshole. I don't know. Alright. He's like, it's not like we're wearing rags and falling out hunger in the street. I'm like, yeah. But it begs, why do you insist that there must be a prescription over everyone if you know hardly anyone who wants a better existence than the one given American slaves? The Afro-American loves it here. Even you wave the flag. Why should I think of ways to take your beloved? So he goes, I thought you might be the USA. I thought you may be from the USA, and I was mistaken. I urge Africans and those of the diaspora to forge their own solutions because all the situations aren't the same. I'm like, the Afro-American is certainly doomed to permanent subordination. But this can't be helped because nary a one wishes to truly help themselves. So this is the theme of the day, right? He says, we are doomed to be no more than 50% of the population of the USA, but the permanent subordination you speak of is not guaranteed. We'll be satisfied with lots more of us prospering, cop killings, and discrimination cut down to a minimum. We've sacrificed way too much to ever leave. And I'm like, that's subordination, brother. Forever the employee, forever the policed, forever the discriminated against. That's a subordinate role. The superordinate role you can achieve in Africa is as employer and employee, police and policed, and the discriminating like Whitey has it. He says, look, our base rates can improve. The police can eventually be curtailed. We'll be leaving Africa for the Africans, and they have a lot of work to do for themselves. By the way, the plight of others always seems a whole lot worse for those not actually living in the situation. I said, look, the police will be curtailed insofar as you learn obedience to the power structure. Business can flourish insofar as you learn subservience to the power structure. This is the way all around the world. But your power structure will never be you. It cannot be at 15% of the population. And he says that 50% will be part of the over 50% non-whites that will be in America coming 2053. Usually only 5% of the American population are doing pretty good for themselves. Biz can flourish as long as it serves its customers. Again, other powers can serve a lot. Now, of course, I didn't see that reply, so I didn't reply to it. Because a lot of my stuff is muted. He says, your thoughts on AA situation, why I urge AAs to not allow outsiders to tell us how to feel and what to do about our situation. I'm saying, look, I'm just trying to help. No one more advocated for AA than me. I gave everything for our liberation, but I have to concede that it's hopeless. This is just my opinion. John Ray Bruce shared the same. Do yourself a favor and look into that ancestor. He says not an option. And once again, AA should be extra careful about allowing outsiders' opinions to determine what they want, what we'll settle for, how we feel about our sitch, and what to do about it. Save the hopeless dinkos for others because the savvy will reject them. And of course, you know, we allege that we're politically savvy in America, but how politically savvy can you be if you're so politically irrelevant? You understand? Now, he said, I looked him up, the dudes from the late 1800s, and if I was living back then, I'd probably say the same thing. It's ridiculous that you would reference him. Did you research hard for the so-called black leader to buttress your... And I'm like, look, I always research hard. That's not what I should do. He says, you grab some guy from the 1800s to buttress your argument that it's hopeless for AAs. Ridiculous. And I'm like, that's not some guy, that's John Ray Bruce. You understand? He says, well, you have to be, still got to be kidding. I'm pretty well versed. I never heard of the guy from the late 1800s saying that AA is such as hopeless. Any other black leaders in the 20th century saying anything like that? And I said, yeah, all of them. You heard of Martin Delaney, or that just some guy too? And he says, did he say that it was hopeless also? I'm like, try someone from the USA after 1960. And I'm like, why? They don't compare to their ancestors on any levels. And of course, the guy says, well, I guess the ancestors were perfect. How did slave trade happen? I'd love to hear your views on that. And I say, look, bro, what? Them your ancestors. 1960s your ancestors too. My guy, where are you going with this? Just to clarify that, realistically speaking, that's we are the descendants of our ancestors. So I think that might be the gist of it. Obviously, like I said tonight, if you see Bit of Medicine said tonight, why did the East African Federation Initiative collapse? And if y'all don't know, Nkrumah sabotaged it, So did Ghana, Allah, and Nkrumah sabotage the East African Federation? And you can find out that later tonight at 8 p.m. But let's see. I think that actually might be all of it. Well, this right here, we must not mistake lip service and noise for bravery and service. Like, for instance, I'm pretty well-to-do, but I'm still saying, look, I'm about to go to Africa. Oh, actually, Brother D-Web, he came back. He said, interesting thing about the simulation is the vast majority of people haven't even experienced nor seen in real time most of the conditions they hop online and passionately complain about. I was like, yeah, it's like in their mind the whole of Syria was bombed, and maybe Syria is the size of a neighborhood. He's like, yeah. On that note, I saw a crazy stat. Something like 63% of Americans have never traveled overseas, and over 10% have never even left their state. Crazy. The best education you can get is getting your cultural bubble, if you ask me. And I was like, look, I remember some 40-plus-year-old brother telling me outside of work, he never left his old neighborhood. He was telling me he once ventured out and noticed the store didn't have a metal fence at night. Like, bro, he's 40, and all he had to do was travel 10 blocks, out of the hood. You understand? 10 blocks. But he did it. You know what I'm saying? Right here, this is brother Keisekwe Yama, right? And he's saying, like, because, if y'all remember I read a Nelly Fuller book, he says, look, he's understanding, he says, I thought I was quoting the Amos thing. But anyway, I thought he was quoting the Amos one. But he says, the more I understand the distinction between an analysis versus an assessment, the more I notice that his book is more commentary than an assessment. You understand? Uh, anyway, y'all kind of hear my timer going off, so I might have to head out. But this is this is another brilliant brother, so make sure y'all follow him. Just trying to help, blah blah blah. Here's an example of the between an analysis and an assessment. What else is there? Oh, this is me complaining about some chicken. And like right here, this is the morning thing right here. So this brother right here, Dwayne Wong, he's also amazing, right? He says the American empire comes first before the American worker, and he's quoting this article where Biden bombed Syria before, and I'm like, look here, we gotta realize, look, the American worker has no exit plan. If the empire doesn't secure itself, what will happen to the worker? We talk about the fall of the Roman Empire, but hardly say a word about what happened to the Romans after. Caesar faded, but what thrived after? What will become of the AA? You understand? And I say, look, in Judas and the Black Messiah, there's a scene depicting the Black Panther shootout with the police that eventually led to a surrender. Fred said she could never surrender. Truth is, what other alternative do the BPP have between death and suicide? This is why you can't win. And so I kind of go back. I say, look, if the AA is anti-imperialist and has no exit plan, then he is suicidal. If the AA is pro-imperialist and has no suicide exit plan, then he is invested. And it's really not rocket science as to why a people without an exit plan are in fact the soldiers we find fighting on behalf of America around the world, namely Africa, right? I chose astrophysics because I'll tell you, this is biographical. I chose... Hold on a second. Oh, no. I chose astrophysics to be innocent of imperialism. Then I learned that there was dead black U.S. soldiers in Congo there because of images NASA provided on mineral resources there. I concluded early on that no one in America is innocent of the imperialist machine. We're all cogs, I say Africa, actions speak louder than words. The only anti-imperialists are those who would renounce their citizenship and join an actual revolutionary cause against the empire. Everything else is pretend. Victims of their own comforts. You understand? And of course, like I said, D-Web's here. He says, how many revolutions do you think a society where they have nots, where Jordans carry $1,000 cell phones and have full bellies will produce? And of course, there's a longer conversation here, but like I said, I'm actually on the clock. But you can see, man, I saw this dude. I was talking about this dude who's just like everybody just soft, And of course, somebody else puts a projection. This is another good brother. It says discontent isn't quelled by comfortable living conditions. I said, yeah, but not enough to fight the police, let alone the American military. These folks, they uncomfortable. They're not going to fight the police in the American military, right? And right here, I said, look, imagine saying you can't afford $2,350, but you have a $50,000 in school debt. Imagine saying you can't afford $2,350 and you're in a $300,000 house. Imagine saying that you can't afford $2,350, but you're getting paid $35,000 to $105,000 annually. You just can't afford to lose America. And of course, that's why I said, look, I'm issuing the challenge. I want to go live with this theme. I do this do it live thing. You already know. And I think that's pretty much it. You kind of, right here. Question of the day is, what's the longest you see African Americans fighting for their independence? And no, I'm not just trolling that bro who told me to shut up, because bro told me to shut up. I said, for real, Haitian Revolution was fought for 12 years. Maroons fought for a decade. Even Mile Mile was 7 years. How long do you see the population today at war? And of course, is it 3 months tops? Is it 3 years tops? Is it an easy decade or until we win? And I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, well, brother Abaka Amugo, he said a couple of weeks. I said, look, y'all see how big the protests were. Where are they now? Y'all think the police stopped killing us? You think the police stopped killing us? No one has to fight. They have to fight the guts. You understand? So I'm scared. And the guy called me scared. I said, look, man, we've been surrounded by 20 million with a strong government, military, and economy, and provide for everything. Of 40 million of my brothers and sisters in a bad situation. Gotcha. If you want to be his pet, go for it. You understand? And so of course, then I went live. And y'all can see that. So of course, what Harry Cobia never happened. It was supposed to happen. It didn't happen, but it's all good. But thanks so much, family, for tuning in. Hopefully, you guys tune in later. Drop some likes, drop some whatever, no dislikes, and all that. And of course, I'll hear from you later tonight. But thanks for listening. And of course, Shamim Hotep. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. Make sure all that. All right, Shamim Hotep.